So, I'm going to show you on this piece of muslin, instead of doing my homework for my fashion class, how to do this lattice smocking. What you're going to do is you're going to make a grid. I am just freehanding this and whatever, but reminder that smocking will take up a bunch of your fabric. It can reduce your fabric about like 50%, a little less, a little more, depending on like how tightly you're doing this. But it's basically manipulating the fabric, so you're going to be bringing it in. Words are hard, but basically I'm going to make a 1 inch by 1 inch grid on here. I used for this actual garment a 2 inch by 2 inch, and I used Sharpie because this is an old sofa cover and I don't care. It didn't stain through. I knew it'd be fine. Also, I could see it better. Like, I used a much lighter marker and I just couldn't see it in my living room with a dark fabric, and my eyes are terrible because I'm old. All these things came together for this. So here we are. I made this little template, and you can see it a little bit better here. And then you're going to draw what in my mind, I was like, it's like Plinko, but like Plinko doesn't look like this, right? It doesn't, but you know what I mean. So you're going to draw this little grid on here. And again, I'm using pen because this is a muslin. Like, who cares? You use whatever is going to be fabric safe for your stuff. Again, I used Sharpie on my final product. So don't judge me because I don't really care if you don't like that I use Sharpie. Like, please, just find a hobby. But here we are. Here's what the grid's going to look like. You can see it kind of mimics, right? It kind of looks a little bit like the latticing a little bit. Now, I use 4-ply thread. So that's basically, I do 2 full lengths of thread together, loop it through the thing, and then I wax it. Although I didn't wax it for the example because I couldn't find my wax for this, but here we are. So those lines are going to be pulled together. And a reminder that the dots are going to go on the back side. And you're not really going to see the pattern make any sense on this side of it. But then you're going to knot that. So basically, you're just going to have these loose threads. So as I sew to this thread, there's no line between them, right? Between that dot. So I'm just going to knot, loop and knot all of those and have that be loose thread. You see that? Okay, so then that dot connects to a line. So then I'm going to sew to that next dot, and I'm going to pull in that fabric and then knot it. So this is going to take a lot of knotting. It's just going to be a lesson in patience, if you will. Again, go down. I leave this loose. I'm going to knot it to make sure that stays secure, and then go to the next. When you're done with the row, again, just tie off. And then go to the next. And see, like, you can turn it over and it's not going to look amazing when you just do a little bit of it. You really need to do quite a bit of it for you to, like, see the pattern come together. So don't get frustrated. Just double check your diagram and double check what you're doing. But I just started the next row that I can see. And if you pre-mark out all the spots that you need done, it shouldn't be, like, if you lose your spot, it shouldn't be terrible because you know that the only things you need to sew are where the dots connect by a line, right? So there were a couple times on my big thing that when I was doing the top of it, the shoulder, where it connected to the sides, I got a little confused, but I counted the dots and then I worked from there, but I'd already marked everything, so I didn't need to really worry about what was, like, what I couldn't do, because, like, I knew exactly what I needed to do. But it was easy to just, like, kind of dig around and find the couple of missed lines that I hadn't done, if that makes sense. So, whatever. I'm rambling. You get it. Just take your time. Be patient. Use really good lighting. You know, obviously for muslin, I am using a contrasting thread so you can see it. But in real life, you know, I used blue thread for my actual thing. So here it is, finished. Look at that. You can kind of see it coming together. It's going to look and drape differently depending on what fabrics you're using. But this is the most basic way to do lattice smocking, and I will link to the blogs that I use to learn how to do this. And I hope they're really helpful. So again, it's not going to look like much if you don't do a ton of it. You can see here I just did a little bit of the muslin. You saw after my first row. It was fine. So just be patient.